I'm wondering, Whit, if you can provide any insight here with Sean McVay. He's now 8-4 as a playoff head coach, and clearly you have to have the right stuff as a player, and to be able to compartmentalize, and the leaders
Yep.
and the execution, and the players have to, that Les Snead has picked, have to be the right ones. And that said, though, for an effort like that, under the circumstances like those, what insight can you tell me about Sean McVay, a playoff head coach, and how he preps the team, and how much of a difference maker that may be the case, certainly in advance of this game against Philadelphia, Andrew?
Well, I think the best insight I can give to you is this: is like sometimes we live with people in the moments of the ups and downs of their career, or how things go, and start to make decisions of who we think they are. For me, it all started when I first showed up in Los Angeles, and I'll never forget a 30-year-old head coach who spent our first 4 weeks at OTAs, and it wasn't about the boy genius he supposedly was and all the knowledge he had about football and those things. He spent his entire first 4 weeks, the majority of our team meetings were about football character, how to communicate, how to be consistent in who you are as a human being, day in and day out, the 4 pillars of what we were going to be built on when it came to how we treat each other, how we're accountable to one another, how we depend on one another, all those type things that really lead to who you are, in my opinion, as a man. And he was raising young men to understand the opportunity in front of them, but also understand who they need to be to go through those moments and have success and come out of it and be proud of who they are in them, regardless of the outcome. And so when you get in these moments, it doesn't shock me to see him have a team that performs its best when its best is required, because that's what he wants them to live by. That's what he wants them to every single day have as their approach. And I think when you see that, when you're built that way, no different than the Dan Campbells and some of these guys we see out there that emotionally are not just driven on X's and O's of football, but how do I get these guys to become the kind of people they need to be day in and day out in life, and want to respond to adversity, want to be there for people in adversity, to be men of action. To see those kind of people be successful in big moments is not a shock, because it's something they prepared to do. And Sean is somebody that's his emphasis. That's what he focuses on, is being at our best when our best is required, and day in and day out consistency and a sense of urgency of, am I always improving and growing and looking for that next opportunity to step up and be better than I was the opportunity before. That's the kind of man he is coaching in that locker room, and he's got the great ones too, in Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Rob Havenstein and some of the vets there that live that way as well and have bought into it. And when you see that buy-in, you see special football teams.
And then young players like obviously Puka in year 2, and then you on the defense, on that front 7, and a handful on the back end too. They are young and they are good and they are brash and they do not care. And I'm wondering how this works going against an Eagles team that the last time they faced each other, I think Saquon is still running. Andrew, what do you think about this Sunday?
Yeah, I think that, what you really feel good about when you get into the playoffs is exactly what this football team showed Monday night. And that is, can you stand up and say, hey, for 3 hours, can we play our absolute best football? Because the truth is, when we get in these moments, and sometimes we get let down, whether it's teams that we followed before or not, throughout the season that we have all these expectations for. But the truth is, when you get to the playoffs, division records don't matter. Your record against certain opponents don't matter. What you accomplished, anything you did statistically doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is which team performs their absolute best in that 3-hour window. Every mistake you make is magnified. The game's going to go faster than you think. There's going to be emotions at the beginning where you'll see some teams kind of give away some things. We saw that in the Texans-Chargers game, where it was like nobody could hold on to the football or stop making mistakes to start that game. But the Chargers weren't able to take advantage of it. You get in these moments, and it's who's got the poise, who's got the emotional intelligence in that game to handle the first few minutes of it, and then to consistently play. So when I talk about this Rams team, what they just showed us, that's why I believe they have a chance, because they've been through adversity this year. Not many teams can say they start 1-4, have all the injuries they had, and started just marching their way back into contention with a self-belief that we can get there, because nobody else thought you could. So they get to go play in this game. I think their biggest advantage, 2 things really. I think they play more like an AFC North team and how they're built. Young, talented defensive line that likes to get after it and play physical, football. And then, you look at the offensive side of the football. They love to possess the football. They want to drive at the length of the field. They're going to eat up a ton of time. They're going to give Kyron Williams a bunch of touches. That's who they're kind of built for. So I think they'll play well in cold weather. And the other part of it is they did start 1-4. They've been through adversity. They did have last week and all these emotions they went through and everything they had to stand up and be at their best for. So they get to go play in this game. No one expected you to be here. So you know what you get to do? Go play free. Who cares? Shoot your shot. You're not supposed to be in this final group of guys anyways. So go play free. Let it all rip. Everything in the playbook. Let's get it all off the page and see what happens.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.